Dividing decimals. Step 1. Use long division. Step 2. Bring the decimal point up into the quotient. 12.45 divided by 5. That makes 5 our divisor and 12.45 our dividend. Does 5 go into 1? It doesn't. Does 5 go into 12? It does twice. 2 times 5 is 10. Subtract those and we get 2. 2 is smaller than 5, so we'll bring the 4 down. 5 goes into 24 4 times. 4 times 5 is 20. We subtract those, we get 4. 4 is smaller than 5, so we'll go ahead and bring this 5 down. 5 goes into 45 9 times. 9 times 5 is 45. Subtract those, we get 0. Our last and most important step is then to raise this decimal up directly above it to there. So our answer is 2.49. Multiplying by a power of 10 makes dividing by decimals easier. Alright, so we have 13 times 10, and that just makes it 130. 94 times 100, well, you add 2 zeros on the end. 28 times 1,000, you take 28 and you add 3 zeros. Over here, all you do is move the decimal to the right once. And here we move the decimal to the right twice. And here we move the decimal to the right 3 times. Do you see a pattern for multiplying by a power of 10? The decimal point moves to the right depending on the number of zeros in the power of 10. So here we had 3 zeros, so we move this decimal to the right 3 times. There are 4 steps in dividing by decimals. Step 1. Change the divisor to a whole number by multiplying by a power of 10. Then multiply the dividend by the same power of 10. Use long division, and then bring the decimal point up into the quotient. Try rewriting these problems so you're ready to divide. 15.6 goes into 6.24. All you have to do is move the decimal to the right 1 space in each of the numbers, and this becomes a whole number. You multiply by 10, so that 15.6 becomes 156. 6.24 must also be multiplied by 10, and it becomes 62.4. Down here, we're going to have to multiply this by 1,000 so that this decimal will move over to here, which means we also have to multiply this by 1,000. So 1, 2, 3, so we'll add 2 zeros on there, and this becomes 234 as the divisor and 23400 as the dividend. So you can see how this works out. 23.4 divided by 0.234 times 1,000, then we get 23,400 divided by 234. Rewrite each problem after multiplying by a power of 10. Alright, so here, this is our dividend and this is our divisor. So we're going to be moving this over 2 spots. To do that, we multiply both numbers by 100. Here, this would move over 2 spots as well, and that would give us 415 as our divisor and 25020 as our dividend. Alright, here we have to multiply this number by 1,000 so that it will move over 3 spots. 1, 2, 3, making that 8. Then here we have to also move the decimal over 3 spots. 1, 2, 3, adding in 2 zeros. So that becomes 4,200. Alright, here we have to multiply the divisor by 10 so that this becomes 9. And then we'll just move this decimal over 1 as well. And that becomes 6789.21. And finally, we have this is our dividend and this is our divisor. This will move over 1 by multiplying both numbers by 10. So this also moves over 1, and that gives us 2, 2, and 683.42. Before any calculations, estimate your answer to make sure you're on the right track. 23.2 divided by 4.04. What place value should we round to? Let's round to the nearest whole number. So 23.2 rounds down to 23, and 4.04 rounds to 4. So our answer should be approximately 5. Alright, so we have 23.2 divided by 4.04. Here we're going to multiply both of these numbers by 100 so that this decimal will move over. This one will also move over, adding a 0. So our new problem is 404 going into 2320. So does 404 go into 2? It doesn't. Does it go into 23? It also doesn't. It doesn't even go into 232. However, it does go into 2320, and it goes in 5 times. 5 times 404 is 2020. When you subtract those, you get 300. It does not go into 300, so we have to add some zeros here. We'll bring this 0 down, and it does go into 3,000. It goes in 7 times. And remember, we're going to move this decimal up there. 7 times 404 is 2828. When we subtract those, we get 172. 172 is less than 404, so let's bring another 0 down. All right, 404 goes into 1720 4 times. 4 times 404 is, 4 times 404 is 1616. When you subtract those, you get 104. 104 is less than 404, so let's add another 0. All right, so 404 goes into 1040 2 times. 2 times 404 is 808. When you subtract those, you get 232. 232 is less than 404, so let's bring down another 0. Remember, we're going to be rounding to the thousandths, so we just need to figure out what this is so that we know whether to round up or round down here. So now we have what we actually started with. 404 goes into 2320 5 times. 5 times 404 is 2020, and that's 300. But we don't have to keep going here. We have enough information. We are going to round this 2 up, giving us 5.743. Estimate your answer for the following problem by rounding the numbers to the nearest whole number. 9.5 divided by 0.05. 9.5 rounds to 10, and 0.05 rounds to 0.1. So what is our estimate? Well, it would be about 100, because if we had 0.1 going into 10, then we move the decimal over, that becomes 1 going into 100. So 100 divided by 1 is 100. For problems like these, use your number sense. If you are dividing 9.5 by 0.05, does that mean the quotient will be smaller than 9.5 or greater than 9.5? Well, greater. It will be greater. It will be greater than 100. So, yeah, if you're dividing by a tiny number, you're going to end up with a very big number.